You just went downstairs for a late night snack and ended up bumping into a girl on the street dressed in an extremely borders on inappropriate outfit. She had a strange tattoo inked on her body. The moment you brushed past each other, you suddenly saw the face hidden beneath her bangs clearly. By Ningbing, you blurted out subconsciously. The girl froze in place as if electrocuted when she slowly turned around. Her lips trembled slightly. Xiao Xiao Yu, it really is you. You've changed so much. I thought I recognized the wrong person. Yeah, you don't seem to have changed at all though. Without a trace, he pulled at his overly short skirt with his hand. That stiff, restrained appearance revealed a kind of naive attempt to pull his short skirt into a pair of long pants. Long time no see, yeah. Really long time no see. Looking at Binding Bing's evasive gaze, you were stunned. The person in front of you completely didn't match the one in your memories. The one in your memories had eyes full of starlight, outgoing and lively. Yet the person in front of you was timid, shrinking away, introverted and restrained, even losing the highlights in his eyes. Wondering what on earth happened to him over all these years. Why did he turn into this state as you spoke? Your memories flashed back uncontrollably. Back in high school, you were obsessed with gaming for a period of time, often not doing your homework. Whenever you got to school, you'd copy his, and he never refused either. After copying so many times, you only needed a single glance, and Binding Bing would place the homework right on the desk, straight up letting you copy it. Every time you were called out by the teacher to answer questions, he would also quietly write down the answer on a scratch pad and push it over. Sometimes while copying, you'd complain that the problem was too hard. He would lean over and point at the problem to teach you. This requires using the law of coziness. Look right here. A faint shampoo fragrance drifted from between his hair strands. To step back 10,000 steps, even if Binding Bing were to head in a bad direction. With his innate Liu Ruyan divine constitution, no matter what, it shouldn't have turned out like this now. Timid, shrinking away, hanging his head down, not daring to show his face, like a wet little puppy, shivering while curled up in an abandoned shabby shoebox. After a moment of spacing out, you snapped back to reality. Do you live nearby? Coming out alone this late. I live near Nanxing No. 2 High School. Not nearby. He answered as if in a classroom, being called upon to recite a textbook passage, his gaze shifting back and forth erratically. If you asked any further, you'd make him cry. Just chatting normally. How did it end up looking like you were acting like a scoundrel in the middle of the night? Cornering a girl or something? Are you heading back now? Binding Bing nodded and hummed a sound. My home is right here. I'll drive you back. Nanking No. 2 High School is 2 streets away from here. It's quite far. No, don't trouble yourself. I can just walk back by myself. Looking at his flustered appearance, your mood was somewhat complicated. On the day of the senior high school graduation ceremony, Binding Bing went on stage to give a speech as the student representative. When he spoke the word future, his eyes were as bright as if they were filled with stars, being so overly polite. Are you afraid I'm plotting something malicious against you? No. I know you're not that kind of person. I trust you. He wanted to argue, but due to nervousness, the words that slipped out became incoherent. Stumbling along, it's just stepping on the gas. It's no trouble at all. Wait for me a moment. I'll go get the car. Watching your departing back by Ningbing, had hollow eyes wondering what he was thinking about. Before long, you drove a car over in front of Bai Ningbing. What are you standing there frozen for? Get in quickly. Bai Ningbing snapped out of it and stealthily got into the passenger seat. The vehicle slowly started moving. After a brief silence, Bai Ningbing asked very uneasily, letting someone like me sit in the passenger seat. Won't your girlfriend mind? I don't have a girlfriend. You kept your hands on the steering wheel and glanced sideways, seeing her lowering her head in silence, as if she hadn't heard anything. After high school, the two hadn't seen each other, with no topics left to talk about. It felt as if a Cambridge bridge separated the two of them. Turns out he also had such a quiet time, huh? Compared to the past, he should have been like a sparrow, chirping and talking endlessly without stopping, recalling the wonderful times of going to school together. In the past, you couldn't help but let out a soft chuckle. I only came back to Nanjing this afternoon. Is that so? Then before that, you were studying in Beiyou? And found a job over there too. Telling you that over in Beiyou, guided by your lead. The conversation between the two gradually increased, and the awkwardness of the long-awaited reunion slowly melted away. Yeah, back then you used to copy my homework all the time. I was always worried you'd run into trouble on exams. Fortunately, your Gaokao score was still really good. Right, speaking of scores, didn't you score better than me? Where did you end up going to college later? I couldn't contact you at all. Binding Bing's body trembled slightly. The smile on her face instantly sank. I didn't go to college. You were somewhat surprised, but didn't continue asking further. Can you park by the roadside ahead? I live right here. Sure, the car came to a steady stop. Binding Bing turned her head to look at you. Then I'll be leaving, bye-bye. Is this supposed to be a farewell? You delayed for a long time without managing to reply with words like see you later. When your focal point was lost, you had already panicked. Memory flashback. Hello everyone, my name is Bai Ningbing. I'm a local from Nanjing City. I hope I can get along well with everyone from now on. Hello, from now on, we're desk mates. Do you like eating sweet things? Here's a candy for you. Stop dozing off. The teacher looked at you several times during class just now. Xiao Yu, I don't like drinking milk. Do you want it, Xiao Yu? How are you holding up? We're going to the same high school? Hey, this right here is what you call fate. Not only ending up in the same class, but we're even desk mates. Xiao Yu, you didn't do your homework again. Next time this happens, I won't let you copy anymore, Xiao Yu. Have you figured out which college you want to take the exam for? Can you drop a hint? Xiao Yu, do you think we'll ever meet again after graduation? Returning to reality, Bai Ningbing, you, this person, after all these years, hasn't changed at all. Whenever something minor happens, it's written all over your face. That look of yours that looks like you're asking me for help. What is that supposed to even count as? With you looking like this, how could I possibly feel at ease letting you leave? Haven't eaten yet. How about keeping me company to grab a bite? Bai Ningbing sniffled. It's this late, there probably aren't any cake shops open, right? Around here, there probably aren't any, but downtown there are. At this time slot, they should still be taking orders. All right then, I'll keep you company to grab a bite. He turned his face sideways, from time to time raising his hand to secretly wipe away tears. You drove straight ahead without looking sideways, pretending not to notice. Not seeing each other for so many years. Bai Ningbing's appearance and personality have both changed quite a bit. But what she loves to eat hasn't changed a bit. The two of them arrived at a cake shop in the downtown area. Except for the boss changing from an auntie to a young guy, everything remained just as it was. Utilizing the lights inside the shop, you finally saw that face you'd been longing for clearly. Bai Ningbing lowered her head, eating the cake with full concentration. Her hair was still just as nice, and she had also become even prettier, only on her innocent and pure face. There were quite a few extra little decorations. There was a tattoo on her slender fair belly. These are stick-on tattoos. Bai Ningbing noticed it at some point, your gaze, and covered up the pattern on her belly. You smiled awkwardly. Pretty nice looking, actually. For a moment, your gaze didn't know where to rest. Naturally shifting to look at the ear stud, these are glued on. He violently yanked off the ear stud. Your pupils contracted slightly, inwardly sucking in a breath of cold air for him. Just watching it hurts. You looked toward his mouth on a sudden impulse. He had a sudden rush of blood to his head and wanted to stick his hand into his mouth. Realizing it looked unseemly, he immediately pulled it back. Those are 6C's pearls. I'll take them off as soon as I get back, he explained in a low voice. Tears fell down, pattering like raindrops. You panicked a bit. No, I didn't say anything at all. Bai Ningbing stopped eating the cake. The scene instantly plunged into silence. Not eating anymore. I'm really terrible, right? His hands nervously rubbed against the skirt hem, not daring to lift his head. Yeah, you're pretty terrible, all right? Bai Ningbing buried his head even lower. Wasting food isn't a good habit. Eat up. There's so much here I could never finish it all. Bai Ningbing was stunned for a moment, lifting his head to look at you with reddened eye sockets. You used to love eating the cake from here. Back in the first year of high school, you even brought me here, you know? You still remember all that. How could I possibly not remember? When classes were split right at the start of high school freshman year, we ended up as desk mates again. You wanted to celebrate and treat me to something delicious. As a result, when we got here, you only bought a single piece of Napoleon cake and stingily split it half and half between the two of us. Listening to your breezy and humorous description, the corners of Bai Ningbing's mouth curved into a smile. I didn't have much pocket money. The money for that piece of cake was also something I saved up for a very long time. I didn't think too much back then. I just thought it tasted really good and wanted to bring you along to eat it. Sorry about that. Apologizing now is too late. After all, people are bound to be troubled for a lifetime by things they couldn't have in their youth. Back then, seeing you staring longingly at the expensive cake, I thought to myself that sooner or later I'd let you eat your fill of it. You definitely can't waste these today. You have to eat them completely clean without a single bit left. Your words are still as interesting as ever. Bai Ningbing smiled and hummed, yeah. I'll listen to your words and eat it all up. I'm really sorry about back then. That meticulous and gentle feeling is so familiar. He really hasn't changed at all. With a few pieces of cake down his stomach, Bai Ningbing's mood improved quite a bit. During the chat, you unintentionally asked him about some of his recent conditions. Didn't go to college, never really had a steady job. The economy hasn't been good these past few years. Doing self-media work, living in a cheap rental apartment. These words were spoken lightly and casually from his mouth, yet they leaked how uneasy things were. You could tell he wasn't very willing to chat about related topics. You were tactful, and didn't chat deeply about it for long, shifting the topic, changing the subject. That diary I gave you back in middle school. You surely don't still keep it, do you? Of course, I already threw it away. Whether Bai Ningbing was hungry or because he was being obedient, he actually ate all the cake. Clean, are you full? Yeah, I kept you company to come out and eat a bit. As a result, basically, I was the one eating. How much did it cost? Let me transfer it to you. I called you out to keep me company while I ate things and still want you to treat. That doesn't make any sense, right? However, Bai Ningbing's face blushed somewhat as he glanced at the empty plates piled up on his side. If you want to, there will be plenty of chances to treat me. Right now, I'm working right here in Nanjing. You can call me out with a single phone call. On call whenever summoned. Right? Let's add WeChat. Oh, okay. The two of you naturally added each other's contact info. Let's go. I'll drive you back. Sorry to trouble you. The parking spot was still a distance away from here. The two walked side by side, with nothing much to talk about. The atmosphere was somewhat awkward. Bai Ningbing lowered his head, not daring to turn his head to look at you either. His mood was very complicated. He really hasn't changed at all. It's just that I no longer have the qualification to like him anymore. However, being able to see him one last time before leaving this world, I am truly lucky and fully satisfied. If only we could hold hands. Realizing that he was being overly greedy, his cheeks flushed slightly, almost at the exact same time, without any warning. You reached out and grabbed his wrist. Bai Ningbing's heart contracted sharply, his body reacting as if electrocuted. You didn't look at him, instead looking sternly at a few punks with dyed yellow hair across the street. Do you guys have too many lives to spare or something? Walking without watching the road. What are you keeping your head down the whole time for? You were about to crash right into them. They don't want their lives. Do you not want your life either? Sorry. Bai Ningbing snapped back to reality and apologized repeatedly. I wasn't talking about you. Just watch the road more. Sorry, I know I was wrong. You knew his tears were soft, so you didn't continue lecturing him further. The drive back on the way was really quiet. Decorated with the maiden's blush, the atmosphere heated up quite a bit. When intercepted by a traffic light at a certain intersection, Bai Ningbing suddenly fogged up and spoke. I've always been by myself, no boyfriend. Always have been. You knew what Bai Ningbing meant. Pondering slightly for a moment, you went straight to, if you like me, we can try dating and see how it goes. Adult relationships don't need so many twists and turns. I lied. Is this car yours? He almost blurted it out. Yet when the words reached his lips, he changed his question and said no. This car is my dad's. Bai Ningbing actually didn't understand cars at all. But in his cognition, he felt cars were all pretty expensive. The reason why he suddenly asked this was actually because he wanted to understand your living situation sideways. Yet different from normal circumstances, he actually hoped your conditions could be a bit worse. However, the moment the question left his mouth, he immediately regretted it. Because no matter what your situation was, it was impossible for you to date him anymore. He no longer had the qualification to date anyone. He had already decided to die in the first place. And now things turned out like this again. After calming down completely, Bai Ningbing lowered his eyes. Sorry, I shouldn't have asked. Just pretend what I said just now was unsaid. No. You haven't even asked about my job or savings and stuff yet. Are you looking down on me already because of this? No, it's not like that. How could I possibly look down on you? Then why didn't you keep asking? Because there's no need to ask anymore. Is that so? I thought we were about to start dating. Sai got happy for nothing. Soon after arriving at the destination, the car came to a steady stop by the roadside. After a simple farewell, you drove away into the distance. Yet Bai Ningbing stood by the roadside, staring blankly toward the direction where the car disappeared, unwilling to leave for a long time. It was already past midnight when Bai Ningbing returned to his rental apartment. He didn't go straight to sleep. Instead, he squeezed into the tiny bathroom. While rinsing off, Bai Ningbing vented and scrubbed away the tattoos pasted on for shooting suggestive videos. His skin was scrubbed completely red. Dazed and confused, he didn't know how long he washed for. While blow-drying his hair, his emotions completely collapsed. Tears poured down absolutely. He didn't dare to cry out loud. He just raised his hand and pressed the back of his hand against the edge of the bed, sliding powerlessly down the wall to sit on the floor, his shoulders trembling as he made tiny, soft, muffled sounds. He cried so heartbreakingly. For so many years, he had never cried because of the hardships of life, until this very moment. Tears gushed out all at once from the bottom of his heart, and no matter what, he couldn't stop them. Bai Ningbing was a child from a single parent family. His parents got divorced when he was very young. He lived following his father. Although the family was a bit poor, life was still pretty decent. His father treated him very well. At least he didn't have to worry about food and clothing. This kind of life continued until high school graduation. That day, Bai Ningbing became an orphan. His father's and his final connection was the heavy pile of debts burdened upon his body. Therefore, he didn't go to college and went out to work odd jobs. When there was someone supporting you from behind, beauty was a passport to social privileges when you were all alone and helpless. Beauty was a life-threatening charm. Everywhere was hell. Going out for an extra turn made it completely impossible to work. He returned to this familiar place and found the cheapest rental apartment. With only a cell phone and a few $100 worth of food, rent, utilities, and the monthly debt collection all made him struggle to move an inch. After becoming unable to interact with people properly, he logically fell right into the internet trap. It was said that spending 2 hours every day could easily net a monthly income over $10,000. He spent a good deal of money buying study materials, 3D modeling, digital painting, writing web novels, cutting videos. He tried everything he could, studying every day from morning till night. The work intensity was far higher than working outside, spending a massive amount of time, yet the earnings couldn't even cover the electricity bill. The final turning point still happened during a live stream, when someone told him to go do suggestive borderline content, overwhelmed by heavy debt and unpaid rent, being so poor that even drinking water had to be meticulously budgeted. After struggling internally for a long time, Bai Ningbing ultimately chose to try it out. His physical appearance conditions were outstanding enough, attracting quite a few people as well. Although the progress was very slow and he earned little, he indeed started making money. Yet starting from that time, his heart was already dead. In a flash, several years passed by. Tonight was the last video Bai Ningbing ever shot. Tomorrow, when the earnings arrive in his account, he'll be able to pay off the very last debt. He didn't even change his clothes and ran 2 streets over to buy the cake he had been thinking about for a long time. As a result, the time was too late, and the shop was closed. Yet, who could have possibly expected? Never would he have expected to run into you upon coming back. Over all these years, even during the most painful times, he would often recall the times he spent going to school with you in the past. Those memories were the light that supported him to keep living on. Through those dark, gloomy years, he frequently fantasized that it would be great if he could just see you one last time before dying. Yet he never expected reality to catch him completely off guard. He had imagined countless scenarios of reuniting and meeting you again, but definitely not like tonight. Bai Ningbing didn't know how long he cried for, when he cried enough to be tired and prepared to sleep. Suddenly, a message notification came from the phone beside his pillow. He picked up the phone and saw the message sent by you. Eating cake with you tonight was really fun. Are you already asleep? Should have just sent it tomorrow morning. Your cake was delicious. Thank you. You let out a sigh of relief. Just as you were about to send a message asking if we could come out to eat together again next time, Bai Ningbing sent an invitation. Are you free tomorrow? You were stunned for a moment. Right before parting ways, he said we wouldn't date. And now he's proactively asking for a meetup again? What is this supposed to mean? You immediately fired back a question mark. You treated me to cake. I want to treat you to a meal. Is that okay? You instantly reacted, oh, so it's just returning a favor in kind? Sure, inside the rental apartment on the other side. Bai Ningbing's heart skipped beats rapidly. Proactively asking someone out for a meal? This was all the courage he could possibly muster up. The most important thing was, he hoped to leave a slightly better impression on you. At least not looking like he did today. This was his only wish before dying. Early in the morning, inside the rental apartment, Bai Ningbing was sitting by the window, meticulously cross-checking against the past. Every single repayment text message, the very last balance has been paid off. Having stayed up almost the entire night, waiting continuously for the earnings to hit his account, he immediately paid off the final installment. He tapped open his balance to take a look. With only a little over $1,000 left remaining, that's enough once we finish eating tonight, and I leave you with a slightly better impression. I can wrap things up when I get back. Bai Ningbing had placed a basin of charcoal in the corner of the room beforehand. Inside the room, the clothes and props used for shooting borderline suggestive videos were also all packed up neatly into boxes. They won't be needed ever again from now on. Speaking of which, it's also quite strange, clearly about to leave this world. Yet his mood was exceptionally light and buoyant. On the other side, you opened up the chat history with Bai Ningbing from last night. The more you looked at it, the more you felt something was off. That state Bai Ningbing was in yesterday, with his evasive gaze and shrinking timid demeanor, didn't look like someone who would actively ask someone out for a meal. Something's fishy, extremely fishy. How did this meal end up feeling like a farewell meal? Seeing that the time was about right, you picked up your phone and sent a message to Bai Ningbing. Where are we going for dinner? I'll come pick you up wherever you decide is fine. You suddenly thought of something and typed back a reply. Then let's go to the barbecue city to eat barbecue. Communication completed. You tucked away your phone and prepared to head out. If he is still the same as he was back in high school, there's a surefire way to get him to spill what's on his mind. You arrived downstairs at Bai Ningbing's place and sent a message to Bai Ningbing. I'm downstairs at your rental apartment, mulling over the specific plan in your mind. You were still thinking that when girls go out, they usually need a bit of extra time to get ready. Yet unexpectedly, shortly after, you turned your head and saw Bai Ningbing appear. Compared to last night, he was dressed very plainly today, with no decorations on his face or ears whatsoever. Overall, very clean and refreshing, giving off a feeling of being instantly transported back to high school days. Bai Ningbing jogged over, his chest heaving slightly, with his breath appearing somewhat ragged. Sorry to keep you waiting for long. Exchanging a glance, his gaze quickly darted away as he lowered his head. It's fine. I only just arrived too. Let's go, you lead the way. He quietly followed along by your side. Glancing sideways at him for a split second, you noticed his little hands nervously shredding. 100 with tension and unease, you sighed without leaving a trace. If it weren't for that evasive gaze and those restrained little actions, you would really think he walked straight out of the high school era. You truly have no idea what he went through all these years to turn into this current state. After walking for a stretch by, Ningbing suddenly spoke up and asked, "Is how I look today me? Looking a bit better than yesterday?" You turned your head sideways to look, and after sizing him up, gave your evaluation. Yesterday looked good too. It's just that today's outfit suits you better. More like the you back in high school? Bai Ningbing didn't dare to look at you, just wearing a faint smile at the corners of his mouth. Like the me from high school. The two of them simply ordered a few small skewers. How about having a drink? Bai Ningbing was stunned for a moment, finding it somewhat difficult. Tonight was originally meant to leave him with one final, slightly better impression. If he ended up showing an ugly state, it would go against his wishes, and the loss would outweigh the gain. That definitely won't do. You should drink. I'll pour it for you. It's really weird for me to drink all by myself. Keep me company for a drink. My alcohol tolerance is really bad. What are you afraid I'll take advantage of you being drunk to get handsy? Then I swear, if I do anything to you, I didn't mean that. In a flurry of panic, Bai Ningbing used his palm to cover the hand you were using to swear. With this sudden physical contact, both of them froze. I'll keep you company and drink alright. Anyway, don't just casually swear oaths like that. It's not very good for you. After a few cups, looking at the girl whose gaze was starting to drift, you found it unbelievable. Only half a can in and she's already floating. How come there are two Xiaoyus? Can you split one and give it to me? No way, this can't be split. Bai Ningbing's little mouth instantly flattened. Stingy jerk taking advantage of Bai Ningbing being unsteady on her feet. You hurriedly got up to support her. Yet Bai Ningbing pushed you away directly. Don't touch me. I'm very dirty. I'll get you dirty. Don't touch me. You were stunned for a moment. Monk Bai Ningbing nodded with a wrong look. I'm very dirty. I'm sorry. Looking at the girl in front of you with hazy eyes, yet still diligently staring at herself, you smiled. How are you dirty? Anyway, just dirty. Alright, dirty. If you say so, I don't mind anyway. You don't despise me. Bai Ningbing suddenly turned around. Whether you despise me or not doesn't matter anymore. I'm heading back. His footsteps swayed unsteadily as he walked back along the roadside. You hurriedly followed closely and guarded by his side. To prevent him from taking a tumble, you're really a good person. Thank you for sending me home. It's only right, I'll tell you a secret. Oh, you aren't allowed to tell anyone else? What secret? I met the person I like last night, Xiaoyu. Bai Ningbing wore a look of utter disbelief, sporting an expression of how do you even know that? Then why don't you date him? I want to too, but I no longer have the qualification to date him anymore. I'm not good at all. Where are you not good? I'm not good anywhere. Okay, stop asking. Bai Ningbing truly spoke the truth after getting drunk. Yet the things he said were all very vague. Just as you were pondering how to continue asking, Bai Ningbing suddenly spread open his arms and said with a certain sense of release, I want to go crazy. Go crazy all you want. There's nobody on the main street anyway. Bai Ningbing turned his head back around, puffing out his cheeks and blowing 2 puffs of air at you. It's this wind, oh. Then the wind of the whole world is yours. Nobody is fighting you for it. Hearing the answer, Bai Ningbing smiled extremely happily. He turned back around to continue walking unsteadily, humming an embrace. Walking while mumbling, I want to delete. I want the sea, I want freedom. I want love. If you want love, go find the Xiaoyu you like and date him then. At this moment, the two of them happened to walk under a light. The dim yellow street lamp illuminated the entire street. Bai Ningbing slowly came to a halt and turned around, tilting his head to reveal an innocent, genuine, smiling face at you, smiling with tears flickering in his eyes. Just kidding. I'm going to die. At this moment, the deep serenity of the night, unhurriedly letting your smile freeze on your face. Bai Ningbing wouldn't lie while in a drunken state. Knowing that Bai Ningbing liked you, you've always known. But back in middle and high school, that was definitely not the time for dating. You had no way to respond to his affection, and could only choose to turn a blind eye. You liked him so you couldn't harm him even more. Originally thinking of proactively confessing after graduation, As a result, after graduation, you could never contact him again. You had always felt quite regretful about it. Regretful, but not regretful. Even if you could do it all over again, you would absolutely never treat studies as secondary, or rashly dive into love at a stage where minds aren't yet fully mature. It's not cowardice, it's responsibility. Restraint is far more difficult than indulgence. You couldn't quite figure out the girl in front of you anymore. Yesterday, in the car, it felt like he still had feelings for you. So you asked him if he wanted to date, and he said there was no need anymore. Yet today, after getting drunk, he directly blurted out that he liked you. Liking you, yet rejecting you. What kind of deal is this? Now all of a sudden he's saying he's going to die again. What on earth is all of this? Right while you were standing there in a daze, Bai Ningbing tripped his left foot over his right foot and took a flat ground tumble out like a clumsy kid. You snapped back to reality instantly, hurrying over to approach him only to find him giggling foolishly. Seeing you arrive by his side, he interrogated you just now. Was it you who stuck your foot out to trip me? You helped him back up. As soon as Bai Ningbing got up, he spoke in a child's tone. It hurts right here. I want to sit down and rest for a bit. There's a bench over there. Let's go sit over there. Taking advantage of the rest break, you asked as if just making casual conversation. Just now, you said you were going to die. What did that mean? Dumbass, dying means dying, duh. Did you catch some kind of illness? You're the one who caught an illness. Yo, I'm very healthy. Then why did you say you were going to die? Bai Ningbing lifted his face toward you and smiled with a giggle. I'm telling you, you see, it's that I'm going back home to quietly die, without letting anyone else know. Then how do you plan to die? Bai Ningbing spilled out every single detail of the little plan he had mapped out for a long time, and didn't forget to ask you to help keep it a secret after finishing. You asked him why he wanted to die. He only shook his head and was unwilling to say anything more. Only at this moment did you completely understand. Being timid and shrinking back, yet proactively offering to treat to a meal. Liking someone, yet rejecting them. Were all because he was going to leave this world tonight. Thinking about it gave you lingering fear. If you hadn't come out with him tonight, you might never have been able to see him again for the rest of your life. This foolish girl really doesn't let anyone worry for a second. You carried the drunk Bai Ningbing on your back, walking slowly all the way downstairs to his place. You set him down. Right at that moment, a gust of cold wind swept past. Bai Ningbing furrowed his brows and slowly opened his eyes. Am I very heavy? Is your knee still hurting? It wasn't convenient to check on you just now. There's no problem at all. Sorry, what is there to apologize for? Just caring about you a bit. Aren't you being too polite? Pay attention to safety when you head back. You looked at him without speaking. Bai Ningbing couldn't withstand your gaze and dropped his line of sight. Will I still be able to see you tomorrow? I have things to do tomorrow. Then what about the day after tomorrow? I have things then too. What about the day after tomorrow? Bai Ningbing buried his head deep down, with his hands hanging powerlessly by his sides. Then what about 3 days from now? Next week, the week after next? The second half of the month you spoke faster and faster, constantly stimulating Bai Ningbing's already fragile heartstrings. Did I say something to you while I was drunk? You said you were going to die. Right tonight. Bai Ningbing raised his head and locked eyes with yours. This time without a shred of evasion. Yet the moment your gazes locked, Bai Ningbing's tear glands instantly soaked the corners of his eyes. With tears sliding down his cheeks, that was just drunken talk. Do you think I'd believe that? Whether you believe it or not doesn't matter anymore. I'm going back. Bai Ningbing turned around to leave. You hurriedly grabbed his hand. Instantly, he acted as if some switch had been triggered, and violently flung your hand away. Shouting at your chest, I already said that was drunken talk. Stop worrying about me. You smiled slightly, and slowly began to speak. It's not that I can't manage you, nor do I have the qualification to manage you. However, there are some things I'm about to say. Don't laugh at me. Bai Ningbing, I also choked up with tears without responding. Actually, these past few years, I would often think of you. While eating, I'd think, would you be foolish enough to treat dessert as a meal? During class, I'd think whether you were attending class too. While working, I'd think whether your boss also had endless meetings that never finished. Many times, when exhausted to the core from studying for certifications, annoyed and flustered from work, and mentally and physically drained, I would always think of you, wondering what you might be doing right now. I treated you as my hope at this point. Bai Ningbing lowered his head to interrupt you. Yet I didn't even go to college, and I can't find a job either. No teachers, no bosses, and even less spare money to eat desserts. I'm just like a rat, crouched inside a rental apartment that would smell musty whenever it rained, where even sunlight was rarely seen. I'm not any kind of spiritual sustenance, much less any kind of hope for you. Bai Ningbing's voice grew quieter and quieter as he spoke, as big teardrops started falling down in large quantities. With his weeping becoming almost impossible to suppress, Bai Ningbing turned around and tried to run away. You grabbed onto him immediately. He cried and pleaded, just let me go, okay? I'm begging you. I don't want you to see me looking like this. Let me go back. You hardened your heart internally, took out his phone from just now and handed it to him. I'll be right downstairs. I'll call you. Otherwise, I'm going to head upstairs and look for you. Bai Ningbing took the phone and tearfully agreed to you, okay? Only then did you let go of your hand, watching him run up the staircase the moment he stepped inside. Bai Ningbing could no longer suppress his crying sounds. Leaning against the door, he burst out crying with a wail in just a few short minutes. He cried to the point of mild oxygen deprivation, with his vision turning slightly dark. At this moment, his phone rang. He hesitated for a moment before answering, and asked with a muffled voice, "Hello? Feeling better? I've always been doing great, You've always been doing great." A brief silence ensued. Bai Ningbing peered through the narrow gap of the window, observing the person downstairs. "It's actually still quite cold outside. I'm fine now. You should go back." "No way, it's cold outside. You go on back. I'm not going to do that stuff anymore. You change your mind faster than anyone else." "Oh, I definitely don't believe you. When have I ever gone back on my word?" "Forgot. Back in middle school, you intentionally guided us and naturally and smoothly started discussing things from middle school with him. You saying a line and him saying a line. It felt as if you had returned to the times when you were desk mates again. There was an endless stream of things to talk about every day." Before he knew it, daybreak was already fast approaching. Bai Ningbing's sudden, intimate form of address made his ears burn hot from listening, feeling somewhat awkward, yet his heart felt very warm. "I like it so much," sitting by the roadside for the entire night, gazing at the sky at dawn. His mind was filled entirely with Bai Ningbing's past appearances, with a peace of mind never felt before. "Bai Ningbing, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend?" Bai Ningbing's mind was completely chaotic, with his heart beating wildly without stop. Do you want to date him? Want to dreamed of it even in dreams? Yet during those days, he had long since lost the qualification to date you. Across the phone line, his lips trembled as he spoke out his insincere thoughts. "Sorry, I have massive problems as a person. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't accept. Dating, you see, after all, is a matter of mutual consent. However, there are some things I must say to you, Go ahead, I'm listening. I don't know what you've gone through these past few years, but the future is still very long. Don't rot away in the past. Actually, I'm quite a selfish person myself. I don't know for you just how painful continuing to live on will be, but I want you to live on. Bai Ningbing, you are my hope. And me, I hope my hope has hope. Concealment in a relationship is a very bad thing. Yet you've already talked to this extent." Bai Ningbing embraced a kind of all-or-nothing determination, and made up his mind. He decided to conceal his past and start over from scratch with you. Other than that, he would be honest, and treat you twice as well in return. Thinking like this, he hung up the phone. Downstairs, you stared blankly at the phone that was abruptly hung up, and your heart started growing anxious. Did what you just said trigger or upset him? Without too much hesitation, you were about to head upstairs, when suddenly a young woman stood right beside you, looking at you with a smile. "Sorry about that. To keep you waiting for so long." "It's fine, I only just arrived too. Do you want to grab some breakfast together? Since daybreak is already here." What do you want to eat?" "I'll treat you." You looked up and down at the young woman in front of you, wondering if you had recognized the wrong person. Yesterday, she was still someone who would dodge her gaze whenever she saw you. Yet after just one night, how come she changed so much seeing you, eating shit without speaking? Worriedly asking, "Did you catch a cold and lose your appetite?" "No, just thinking about what to eat. There's a place selling soy milk and fried dough sticks over there. Let's go eat a bit there." I'll listen to you." Bai Ningbing followed quite obediently right by your side. After finishing breakfast, you sent Bai Ningbing back. Having stayed up the entire night, you suggested that he catch up on some sleep. He obediently agreed, after walking for a stretch of time. Bai Ningbing, who had been quietly following by your side the whole time, suddenly spoke up. "I agree to be your girlfriend." You paused your steps, feeling somewhat dazed. He blushed again and repeated in a low voice, "I'm willing." "You're joking, right? I confessed my feelings to you last night. This morning we aren't doing any uncle games." Bai Ningbing panicked all of a sudden, apologizing repeatedly. "Sorry. It was my fault last night. Please don't mind it. It's fine. Relationships, after all, require mutual affection. You can't force it. What can you do?" Having finally mustered up the determination to conceal his past and stick with him for this lifetime. Yet now he's saying he doesn't like you anymore. "I'm really, really sorry. I apologize to you. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just that I don't want to date anymore." You secretly observed the changes in his expression and continued playing mischievous games. Suddenly, Bai Ningbing reached out and grabbed your sleeve. You originally wanted to watch him panic a bit longer before agreeing to him. Never expected he would suddenly do this. "What on earth are you trying to do here?" He locked his gaze firmly onto your eyes, bit his lip lightly, and mustered up all his courage, stuttering and visibly nervous to the naked eye. I I like you. Will you be my boyfriend? Since last night's confession doesn't count anymore, then now it's my turn to confess. After being stunned for a moment, you understood his thought process. Classmate by Ningbing. Did you know your train of thought is quite unique? You chuckled involuntarily, with no intention of looking down on him, just purely finding it. Hey, feeling like this? Let me think about it. Bai Ningbing felt like he was about to be rejected, with tears right on the verge of pouring out, and started rambling incoherently to try and keep you. I'm begging you to be my boyfriend, okay? I can't live without you. I'm begging you without any exaggeration you didn't even have a chance to react. You just saw his tears stream down in a rush. Not only that, while saying I'm begging you, he started to drop to his knees. Fortunately, you were quick-witted and had fast hands, and grabbed him by the arm to stop him. What are you doing? Why are you dropping to your knees out of nowhere? I have no other choice. I don't have any other way left to make you stay. How? Do you think that just because you knelt, I have to say yes to you? Seeing his meaning being misunderstood, Bai Ningbing shook his head indifferently, with his tears falling even more fiercely, looking like they were about to become a broken string of beads. You didn't dare to tease him anymore either, acting stern. If you don't cry, I'll say yes to you. Being stunned for a second, Bai Ningbing hurriedly raised his hand to frantically wipe away his tears. I won't cry, I won't cry. You handed him a piece of tissue. He took it and asked, while wiping, Are you willing to be my boyfriend? Didn't I already say yes to you? Bai Ningbing sniffled, not knowing what else to say either, and somewhat absent-mindedly muttered thank you. You burst out laughing with a chuckle, Bai Ningbing, simply infected by your smile. He also began chuckling along inexplicably, crying and laughing until he was almost like a mental patient. The two of them just laughed like that for quite a while. Bai Ningbing stopped first, and you gradually reined in your smiles as well, staring straight into his eyes, and saying word for word, Bai Ningbing, affection isn't something you beg for. We are mutually willing to like each other. Hump! Bai Ningbing's heart that was only ever opened up to you was heavily struck at this very moment. He slowly had no idea how he even managed to make it back home. When he snapped back to his senses, he was already lying in bed, embracing his blanket with a blushing face and not a single shred of sleepiness. Twirling inside his mind were the words you said, mutually willing and liking each other. To him, these sweet words were simply way too out of bounds. Right now, Bai Ningbing's mind was filled entirely with your figure. He felt as though he had already melted away, with absolutely no way not to think about you. Thinking and thinking like this, Bai Ningbing drifted into a deep sleep. Ever since graduating from high school, he hadn't been like this anymore. Falling asleep with a smile on his face, in the past his dreams were very monotonous. Inside his dreams was boundless, endless darkness. Those shadows hidden within the darkness were torturing him at every single moment. Tearing him apart, he was deathly afraid of sleeping. So severe that it led to chronic insomnia at one point. Yet now he slept so soundly and sweetly, all the way until the second night, and dinner time. The snap went straight through until it was time to go to sleep all over again. Unable to tell whether it was a dream or reality, the very first key thing Bai Ningbing thought of upon waking up was to hurriedly open up his phone until he saw that exaggerated voice call duration record. Only then did he finally settle his mind. He was so afraid that it had all just been a dream, that there never was any reunion, and it was merely a fleeting spring dream, at the lingering edge of a soul's departure after burning charcoal to end it all. Thank goodness, the worry was completely redundant. The charcoal wasn't burned, and this wasn't a dream either. He really was together with Xiao Yu now. Monday arrived with a clear azure blue sky. Not a single cloud in the sky. You drove your car early in the morning to report to your new company. At this moment, the HR department supervisor, Zhao Huan, was fixing up her makeup inside the office. Today, aside from interviewing new employees, there was also another pressing matter. An important talent arranged to be sent over from the headquarters side, saying they needed to be cultivated as a key focus. Anything arranged from above definitely had to be taken seriously. Calculating the time, the person should be arriving about now too. Zhao Huan walked in quick strides toward the interview office. She actually had one more thing she was worried about. That little programming department element, Su Chacha. Checking her business capability, it was alright actually. The problem lay in her personal life aspect. Thinking like this, Zhao Juan walked quickly and arrived at the secretary office doorway. At the entrance, she vaguely heard people conversing inside. A man and a woman. She went, wah. Could today really be this unlucky? The person designated by headquarters for special care. Aren't they going to get messed with? Sister Juan, you're back. Sister Juan, I helped you interview someone. Let me tell you, you will definitely be satisfied with this person. Am I not the one arranged by headquarters? Zhao Juan's mood wasn't very good. She ignored Su Chacha, who was cozying up to her, instead looking at you and asking Xiao Yu, right? Yes, come with me. I'll brief you on your position arrangement. Now it was Su Chacha's turn to be dumbfounded. How could the supervisor be so clear about it? Zhao Yu even said he wanted to personally arrange the position. She walked over in confusion. Zhao Guan turned around Su Cha-cha. You can head back to your workstation. That person who came for the interview left. The interview ended this morning. Oh, okay. Su Cha-cha stood in place watching the two of them leave. Sister Huan said the person who came for the interview left, meaning that Zhao Yu wasn't the person who came for the interview. Arriving at another location with Zhao Huan, Zhao Guan randomly began her self-introduction. Hello, my name is Zhao Huan. I'm the HR supervisor here. You just arrived over here. If you have any issues, you can talk to me about them. Okay, Sister Huan. Afterwards, just like that, she led you along. To get slightly familiarized with the new work environment, Zhao Juan looked at you and hesitated for a moment before, what did you think of that Su Cha-cha from just now? Quite a lively young woman. She's a member of programming team 2. You shouldn't interact with her too much. Su Cha-cha tends to hold back and delay your work quite a bit. Alright, I understand. Zhao Juan, looking at the smiling young man sitting opposite her, had no idea whether you actually understood or not. Anyway, she had already given the warnings she needed to give, and fulfilled her responsibilities as well. Then let me take you to your workstation first to get familiarized. As for the specific arrangements, tomorrow you'll take instructions from the lead programmer and system designer. Alright, arriving at the office area of programming team 2. Zhao Juan briefly introduced to you the few team members you'll be leading from now on. Su Cha-cha was among them. She lowered her head awkwardly. Never expected that the person she interviewed this morning was the new team leader that everyone had been discussing the most around the office these past few days. Directly interviewing your own direct superior. That was truly bold beyond imagination. After simply getting familiarized with everyone around. Just when you were sitting around with nothing to do, Zhao Jing came looking for you again. Considering that you had just been assigned over to Nanking, there were still many daily life matters to settle here. She told you that you could head back early ahead of time. Coming out of the company, you felt it was unreal. This whole day, what did you even do? You just strolled around the company, ate a meal, and got off work already. Your favorable impression of the new company was instantly maxed out. And the new colleagues were quite interesting too, especially quite a lively young woman. Mom, I'm off work now. Oh, alright, soy sauce, right? After ending the call, you got back into the car and opened up Binding Bing's chat box. A solid half a day had already passed. Not a single message was sent. Who knows what he's even up to? What kind of nonsense is this girlfriend act to? You called him directly. And right as you clicked the voice call button, the other side answered almost instantly. Hello, what are you doing? The soft voice of Binding Bing came from the other end of the phone. Timid yet fervent, I was thinking of you. Have you eaten yet? Not yet, but this morning I ate properly again. Being quite the good boy. How come you didn't send me a message the whole morning? I was afraid of disturbing your work. You're my girlfriend, right? Binding Bing was stunned for a second and hurriedly answered, I'm your girlfriend. Missing your boyfriend? Sending a few messages couldn't possibly be a disturbance. Or are you saying you don't miss me at all? And were just lying to make me happy? No, it's not like that. I miss you a lot. I've also constantly wanted to send you messages, but I was afraid of disturbing you. You didn't lie, right? Wah. Then from now on, whenever you miss me, just send me a message. It won't be a disturbance, got it? I got it. After finishing dinner, you always wanted to deepen and advance the relationship a bit further. And incidentally observe more. To see how his autism situation was getting along. Before even reaching the rental apartment, from afar you spotted Binding Bing standing by the roadside. You walked over in quick strides. Why are you waiting by the roadside? Didn't I tell you to wait until I arrived and sent a message calling you? Didn't I miss you? Wanting to see you earlier, never noticed this before. How come I feel like you're a bit clumsy and silly? I've actually always been quite clumsy. Being a bit clumsy is fine too. I like clumsy ones. Catching him completely off guard. Binding Bing's body shuddered slightly. Let's walk along the edge of the school. Oh, okay. Binding Bing caught up. After walking a stretch by his side, you walked into a milk tea shop. 2 cups of coconut juice. Add extra coconut jellies. I'm not thirsty. You don't need to buy me one. There's no way I'm drinking this all by myself. Back in high school, we used to come drink these every single week. Binding Bing lowered his line of sight, with a smile at the corners of his mouth. So he remembered everything after all. 2 cups of coconut juice are ready. The boss held up the bag and handed it toward you. Seeing this, Binding Bing immediately spoke up, I'll pay. Just as he raised his hand, you separated a cup of coconut juice and shoved it into his hands. In the gap, while he was saying thank you, you rushed to scan the code and pay first. Binding Bing was somewhat dazed, walking by your side with his head lowered. He held that cup of coconut juice in a tangle of conflicting emotions. It's just a cup of coconut juice. Yet this feeling of spending your money felt honestly terrible to him. He would actually prefer to be the one treating. That way, it could also make up for some of his indebtedness. Yet he had no money left. Under the condition of pinching every penny and living frugally, the money left only covered 2 months of rent. He still had to, within these 2 months of time, try his best to overcome difficulties and go out to find some source of income. By Ningbing, what's wrong? Are you not allowed to drink iced things recently? No, then why aren't you drinking it yet? How about I transfer the money to you? Classmate Bai Ningbing, see? What are you even playing at here? Bai Ningbing didn't understand, but seeing your expression, it looked like you were mad, so he panicked a bit and hurriedly apologized. Sorry, please don't be mad. Oh, you can even tell when I'm mad? Then tell me what I'm mad about. I looking at the troubled young woman. You shook your head? Don't be so overly polite and distant. We're going to be together forever. Once you have money in the future, there will be plenty of chances to treat me. If you're still willing by that time, that is. Bai Ningbing looked at your face, feeling warm all over inside his heart. With his eye sockets growing somewhat hot, he nodded. I'll treat you in the future. Always willing, drink up. I even had the boss add extra coconut jellies. Matching up the events, the two of them didn't even know what was wrong. Laughing uninhibitedly and brightly. Hey, unconstrained and bold, he smiled shyly, with his eyes full of him after laughing until tired. A mouthful of coconut juice and coconut jellies slid down the straw into his mouth. Chewing on it, it was sweet. The next day, after you finished washing up, adjusted your attire, and prepared to head out to the underground parking garage, you realized that your car had been driven away by your dad today, though it was originally your dad's car anyway, so you had no choice but to switch to another form of transportation to get to work. After leaving the residential complex, you unlocked a shared electric scooter and arrived at the company in no time. While you were locking the scooter, suddenly an energetic girl's voice came over. Good morning, team leader Chen. Good morning, team leader. You didn't drive here today. You pointed at the shared bicycle. Isn't this it right here? Team leader is really humorous. Didn't you say yesterday that you drove here? Not driving it today. Is the school district side too traffic jammed? Lively vocal timbre, pure and innocent movement. At first glance, she looked just like a pure and lively little girl, quite endearing and likable. In reality, every single move and action was meticulously designed. You saw right through it at a glance. Someone truly pure definitely doesn't look like this. Thinking of this, Bai Ningbing's figure couldn't help but flash across your mind. I don't have a car that one belonged to someone else. Suchacha. Acting quite like a clueless airhead, she smoothly shifted the conversation to other topics. The two of them chatted as they entered the company. No problem. Sister Zhao Huan, hello. Brushing past each other, Zhao Jian turned her head back with a complicated expression. Taking a glance at the backs of the two as they chatted and laughed, sighed the things she worried about ended up happening after all. Zhao Yu is so young and promising. A target like this is something Suchacha will definitely not let go of. She felt a bit apologetic toward the headquarters company. The person designated by above for her to take special care of was soon going to degenerate into Suchacha's plaything, and she didn't have a single method to let down headquarters. Most of the time, work is tedious and boring. Aside from passing along work content in the programming and technology department, everyone didn't have too much social interaction. Suchacha was slightly more active and would occasionally hand out little snacks to her team colleagues. During lunchtime, Suchacha beat around the bush trying to probe you about work transfer matters. Naturally, you wouldn't let her easily fish out any information and deflected the topic back to work content. To be honest, the materials he handed in during work, the quality was relatively poor and his professional capability wasn't great. Bringing up work aspects, she quickly obediently shut her mouth. Work ended soon after. During lunch break, you made a call home, saying you wouldn't be back for dinner, so there was no need to wait up. The reason you weren't going back for dinner was because you couldn't put your mind at ease regarding Bai Ningbing, that clumsy girl yesterday, was agonizing over a cup of coconut juice costing just a few bucks. Her situation might be even worse than you had imagined. You wanted to, without hurting his self-esteem, provide him with some help to the best of your ability, such as in terms of diet, for instance. After finishing up your busy task, you dialed the phone. Hello, what are you up to? I'm washing clothes. Sorry for being slow to answer the call. Is there some good news or something? You sound a bit happy. Bai Ningbing blushed out of shyness. It's just that you called me, and I'm very happy. You got teased to the point of feeling embarrassed yourself, clearing your throat, and shifting the topic through your voice. Have you eaten yet? Not yet. That's perfect. I haven't eaten yet either. I'll come find you in a bit. Let's grab a meal together. Bai Ningbing fell silent and delayed responding for a long time. Is my signal bad? No, it's not. Then I'll arrive in about 15 minutes or so. Wait for me at home. I don't have money. You should go eat by yourself. Bai Ningbing, suddenly being called by his full name, even though you weren't face to face, still couldn't help but straighten up his posture. What is it? Will you listen to me when I speak? Bai Ningbing was stunned for a second, and hurriedly replied, I will listen to what you say, then be obedient and accompany me for a meal. Accompany me for a meal. You spoke these words in a low, gentle tone, deeply touching him. Answering somewhat panikedly, I'll listen to you. See you in a bit then. Hanging up the phone. Bai Ningbing's heartbeat was beating somewhat unusually fast. Unable to calm down for a long time, he knew that just now was a command, not a question. Is this what it feels like to be ordered around by someone you like? You and Bai Ningbing together went to that specialty braised pork rice place up near the school. Back when you were in high school, when no one was cooking at home, he would go eat there with you. Boss, 2 portions of braised pork rice each with an added fried egg. And also a potato pancake? Mine doesn't need the add-ons. Didn't you tell me to eat it like this? I still remember how you crazily hyped it up to me back then, saying the shop's potato pancakes and fried eggs were both crispy and super delicious. Bai Ningbing lowered his line of sight, with his little hands unconsciously tugging at his clothes. Do you want to drink something? No need, I'm not thirsty. Yet you still went and got 2 bowls of free egg and cauliflower soup too. Thank you. Bai Ningbing took a tiny sip. All of the embarrassment that he was trying to hide, you saw completely in your eyes. This was another reason why you chose this restaurant. This place would feel a bit more familiar to him, and it was very reasonably priced, so it wouldn't give him too much of a sense of indebtedness. After a moment, the fragrant braised pork rice was served. Bai Ningbing looked at the rice, swallowed his saliva, steal a glance at you, seeing you didn't move. He didn't move either. You secretly shook your head with a smile, picked up your chopsticks, and started eating first. Only then did Bai Ningbing start moving his chopsticks, eating in small bites. Can I have a piece of your meat? Of course you can. You picked up a piece. We're eating the same stuff anyway. Feeling somewhat disappointed, Bai Ningbing didn't know what he was pondering over again. He transferred the fried egg over to your bowl. I can't finish it, I'll give it to you. Bai Ningbing picked up the potato pancake as well. You hurriedly stopped him. If you two keep passing food back and forth like this, anyone seeing it would think we can't afford to eat. Although you were joking, yet those 3 words, can't afford to eat, still made Bai Ningbing lower his line of sight. You realized you had said the wrong thing, and tried to find a way to comfort him. We aren't some impoverished couple struggling with every little thing. There's no need to. Bai Ningbing lowered his head and murmured an affirmative grunt. This meal was eaten in a somewhat quiet atmosphere. After finishing the meal, when the two of them left the restaurant, on the road, seeing that Bai Ningbing's mood was low, you laid your cards directly on the table. Bai Ningbing, I know your current financial situation isn't very good, and you feel a sense of indebtedness because I'm always the one spending money. Bai Ningbing's body shuddered slightly. But we are boyfriend and girlfriend, we're a couple. Within the scope of our allowable capabilities, helping each other when facing difficulties is normal. If I were to encounter difficulties, would you refuse to help me? Of course I would help you. Then let me also help a bit when you're going through difficulties. At least let me treat you to meals every day, or things like that. Bai Ningbing was deeply conflicted. Seeing that he was wavering, you pressed your advantage and kept going. I'm also very happy when you accompany me for meals. In the future, if I encounter difficulties, you must also remember your promise and call all right then. After coming to an agreement, the two continued walking toward the rental apartment. Along the way, Bai Ningbing asked out of curiosity how you knew about it. Are you talking about the financial situation or your inner thoughts? Both of them, looking at his cute expression of sincere inquiry. You said in a soft voice, because you have a pair of speaking eyes? Bai Ningbing tilted his head at you in confusion, looking even more clumsy than before, with a smile lingering at the corners of your mouth. You didn't bother explaining it to him either, leaving him to ponder it on his own. After returning home, Bai Ningbing's very first thing to do was to take out his debt record notebook and jot down the debt he owed you onto the ledger. August 13th. The braised pork rice was delicious. No matter what difficulties he encounters in the future, I will help him. It's not just a debt. You love me, I love him. After life became routine, days turned into a smooth assembly line. You woke up on time every day, ate the breakfast prepared by mom, rode the shared electric scooter to the company for work, went to find Bai Ningbing for meals after getting off work, and watched TV with the 2 elders at home in the evening. It was Thursday evening. Mrs. Xiao Hui Lan was holding a plate of fruit, sitting by the side of the sofa, eating while watching TV. Out of the corner of her eye, she heard her son holding his phone and grinning foolishly again. It had been like this every day lately. She turned her head and asked, You haven't been coming back for dinner these past few days. What have you been off doing? Oh, nothing much, just eating outside. There's no way it's a team dinner with colleagues every single day, right? I'm dating a girlfriend. Eating together with her inquiring. At the other end of the sofa, Comrade Chen Yahua also looked over, after being scrutinized by the 2 elders like this for a bit. You probed mom. I'm already 24. Dating shouldn't be breaking any laws, right? It's great, it's great. What is the girl you're dating like? Is she local? Her temper is really good. Xiao Huilan was about to speak but stopped. She had quite a lot of things she wanted to ask, yet felt it wasn't quite appropriate to ask them. It felt like, just yesterday, he was still a little brat who knew nothing. How did the age to date partners arrive in the blink of an eye? You're all grown up now too. Be mindful of yourself when dating. I won't meddle too much in you young folks' business, right? If whenever you want to bring the girl home to visit, you need to let me know in advance if you're bringing someone home for dinner. Got it. The two elders went back to watching TV, though both of them were already thinking about how they should host and entertain her. For a period of time following that, almost every afternoon you would invite Bai Ning, Bing to go eat meals. Feeling just like returning to your student days, you took him around to eat through the entire area surrounding the school. Specialty braised pork rice, skewers in spicy broth. Mao Kai, the flavors of the student days were all super delicious. From the bottom of his heart, Bai Ningbing felt that being able to eat meals together with you was truly so blissful. It's just that always spending your money made him feel deeply indebted inside. Bai Ningbing also constantly reminded himself to stay vigilant, not to think that Zhao Yu's kindness toward him was something to be taken for granted. He firmly locked your kindness away in his heart and wrote it down in his little notebook. Yet he still underestimated the dangerous power of habit. This afternoon, he tidied up his appearance just like usual and prepared to head out. Yet after waiting for close to an hour, he still couldn't wait to receive a message from you. He thought it was strange and wanted to send a message to ask, but while looking at the chat box, he suddenly snapped back to his senses, with his inner self raising a question. What am I even going to ask in a message? Could it be that I'm going to ask why he hasn't come to treat me to dinner yet? Bai Ningbing stared at the mobile phone screen. With a mood incomparable in its complexity, Xiao Yu being willing to treat is out of affection and goodwill. Not being willing is simply his duty and right. Why would he think that you would definitely come? Unconsciously on the smooth glass screen of the phone, his own face was reflected. To become a person like this is truly shameless. The more he looked, the angrier he got. Snap! He raised his hand and gave himself a slap across the face. At almost the exact instant the slap landed on his cheek, you called in with a mobile voice call. Bai Ningbing hurried to answer it. Bai Ningbing let out a muffled hello, hello. What are you dawdling for? What time even is it? Why aren't you hurrying down yet? Sorry about that. I'm coming right down. Hanging up the phone, he hurriedly headed out the door and jogged over toward you in small steps. I have to say, he really is speedy when going out. Seeing him makes your mood inexplicably turn good. Seeing you carry a smile on your face, your gaze followed him as he got closer, only to take a closer look and see that on his fair, delicate cheeks, there were actually a few reddish finger marks, looking very unharmonious, and you could even call them glaringly obvious. You couldn't help frowning and asking, did someone hit you? Bai Ningbing was dumbfounded by the question, staring blankly at you. Before he could ask anything, you raised your hand and reached out. Bai Ningbing didn't move either, feeling a bit nervous. With his heartbeat accelerating, what is he going to do now? Right, we're a couple. He tapped his own head and started drifting toward thoughts of not looking cool for even 3 seconds. Just as his mind was running wild, wondering what the next move would be, you gently brushed against his face and asked, how come there's a fingerprint here? Bai Ningbing raised his hand, suddenly remembering that he had slapped himself just a moment ago. How utterly awkward and embarrassing. Here someone is showing concern for him, and yet he was still letting his mind wander into some weird stuff. Did someone bully you? Facing your repeated questioning, Bai Ningbing's little face turned bright red, wishing he could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. Seeing Bai Ningbing not speaking, you were extremely worried. If someone is bullying you, you must tell me. They even resorted to hitting people. This isn't a small matter. I hit myself. I was really angry at myself just now, so I gave myself a slap. After saying that, all his toes clenched up awkwardly, the little white socks inside his shoes, a brief silence. You burst out laughing with a chuckle. Bai Ningbing buried his head even lower. You sure hit yourself pretty hard. Lift your face up. Let me take another look. Bai Ningbing raised his face to look at you, fully exposing the fingerprint on the side of his cheek. You leaned in closer to look at it carefully. You really didn't hold back at all when hitting yourself. How about this? If you ever feel like hitting yourself again someday, how about letting me do the hitting instead? At least I still know how to hold back a bit and not be too harsh. You thought it would make the other person laugh. However, Bai Ningbing's reaction was somewhat strange, as if he had been hit right where it hurt. His gaze started to wander and dodge around, and he even mumbled a soft reply, okay, what, okay, spouting pure nonsense. Are you really that clumsy, or what? Hitting yourself without holding back and not knowing what pain is, huh? After being lectured, Bai Ningbing lowered his head. You didn't say anything too harsh either. Just letting him learn a lesson slightly. If you had spoken too heavily and caused him to lose even the mood to eat later, that really wouldn't be worth the loss. Alright, I didn't want to talk to you like that either. Look, when you hit yourself, my heart aches too. Don't do things like that again, okay? I know you're doing this for my own good. I'm a bit clumsy. If I do something wrong again in the future, I still hope you can lecture and scold me more, barely managing to hold it together and get through it. The logic is indeed that kind of logic. Yet why does this phrasing sound a bit weird? When ordering food up front, Binding Bing followed instructions and didn't have to speak to the boss. He secretly breathed a sigh of relief. During this period of time, you had been observing him constantly. Binding Bing's condition was not optimistic. Perhaps you should take her to see a professional psychologist. Yet with her current state, taking her to see a doctor wasn't realistic either. You pondered over this matter and glanced sideways at Binding Bing. There were quite a few people in the shop today. This girl lowered her head and hunched her shoulders, clinging as close to you as possible to seek a sense of security. You secretly found a corner against the wall, eating outside. When there are only two people, most of the time they face each other. Binding Bing has the two of them sitting side by side. Binding Bing sits in the spot against the wall. You sit on the outer side. The moment you sit down, between the wall and yourself, a tiny little zone is enclosed. You are just like a door. The moment you sit down, you shut out the entire world. Perhaps in other people's eyes, you are just paying attention to the girl sitting on the inner side. Yet in Binding Bing's eyes, it is you who isolated the entire world, giving him a safe yet free sanctuary. Only like this can he converse and laugh normally with you while eating, interacting and enjoying the brief moment of freedom you bestow. After finishing the meal just like usual, the two of you strolled back slowly, treating it entirely as a walk. Binding Bing, with a slightly preoccupied mind, trailed half a step behind by your side. He felt that you were treating him a bit too well. Up until now, he still felt like this was all just a dream. Even if it were a dream, he would still hope it could last a bit longer and allow him to spend more time with you. Saturday noon, looking at the table completely piled high with dishes made by Mom, you thought it would be great if Binding Bing could also taste them. Mom, can I pack up some of the dishes to go? Pack them up for what? My girlfriend hasn't eaten yet either. Anyway, bring some more food over for him, to save him the trouble of cooking. Trailing off, Comrade Chen Yahua's hand, which was about to pick up food, pulled back. Mrs. Zhao Huilan stood up and walked toward the kitchen. If you hadn't stopped them, the two elders would have eagerly wanted to pack up the entire table of dishes. Don't add any more, he wouldn't even finish eating all this in 2 days. Just as you sat back down and prepared to eat, you were straight up, hoisted up by Mom. Your portion is counted in there too. How do you have the face to make someone else wait? Hurry up and go on. As she spoke, she shoved the bag right into your hands. Dad also handed the car keys over to you, urging you on from the second floor. You were just shoved out of the house in that dazed state. You felt somewhat speechless. While walking downstairs, you pulled out your phone to call Binding Bing hello. Have you eaten yet? Just like that, you parked the car by the roadside. Carrying your things, you walked upstairs, taking out the dishes while looking after Binding Bing. My mom's culinary skills are actually quite good. Who knows if you'll like eating them or not? As you spoke, all 9 dishes were laid out across a tiny tabletop, looking somewhat crowded. The aroma was very fragrant. The fragrance filled the entire room. You handed the chopsticks over to him. Have a taste. Binding Bing took them. Yet he made no further move, only secretly paying attention to your expression. You felt a surge of helplessness inside. Picked up your chopsticks and unceremoniously helped yourself to a big chicken drumstick, biting into a huge mouthful, first nodding repeatedly at how delicious it was. To signal him to hurry up and try some, only then was Binding Bing moved. This one is my mom's specialty. This is delicious. I can do it myself. This one is delicious too. Who knows if you like it or not? Binding Bing ate in small, dainty bites, stealing glances at you every now and then, still acting all cautious and timid. Is the taste alright? My mom had me ask what you like eating the most. They're all delicious. I like all of them. If they're delicious, eat more. Did you tell Auntie about dating me? Sorry about that, my mom asked, so I just told her straight out. Didn't think too much about it. No, that's not what I meant. What I mean is, does Auntie not object? What's there to object about? With conditions like mine, pretty looks, and such a good personality, what's wrong with conditions like these? Hearing this, Binding Bing's heart shuddered a bit. He lifted his gaze, wanting to see if you were just trying to comfort him. By saying things like that, casting his gaze forward, what met him was a pair of clear, lucid eyes. You really did think that way. How could there be so many truths and falsehoods? Hurry up and eat. It'll get cold in a bit. I can do it myself. Although Binding Bing kept saying he would do it himself. You didn't grant his wish, just keeping it casual like that. Binding Bing was fed until he was completely full by you, pretty much just as the two of you had expected. Even though it was two people eating, there were still way too many dishes. Only half of them were eaten. In the afternoon, you arrived downstairs at Binding Bing's place just like usual, and called him to go eat meals, dialing the phone over. The other side answered almost instantly. Hello, hello? Why aren't you hurrying down to go eat yet? Sorry about that. I'll come right down. Not long after hanging up the phone, Binding Bing came jogging out from the apartment entrance. Sorry for keeping you waiting for so long. You also realized that you were carrying a bit of irritation and had made him nervous. Taking a quiet deep breath, to calm your mood down a bit, you reached out your hand and gave a command-style instruction. Give me your hand. Binding Bing reacted, and without the slightest hesitation placed his hand over for you to hold. Whatever you want to eat, I'll listen to you, there it is again. It's always this kind of walking on eggshells tone, although very obedient, yet it inexplicably makes people angry. Classmate Binding Bing. You are allowed to have your own self. You can have your own thoughts and express them out loud. You don't need to worry that I won't love you. Why would you doubt the fact that I love you? Binding Bing didn't know what had happened. Seeing you frown, he couldn't help lowering his line of sight, trembling slightly. Binding Bing. Binding Bing, raise your head and look at me. You gazed intently into his eyes. Listen to me, Binding Bing. I love you. Binding Bing shuddered slightly, with his eyes widening a few fractions. I love you too. He didn't know why you suddenly wanted to say this, but for the first time trying to speak words like this back, he felt extremely shy. You're lying. Binding Bing instantly panicked. I'm not lying. I like you. I mean, you don't believe that I love you. Binding Bing argued back, and immediately shrunk back timidly. He didn't know whether he believed it or not either, but he was truly terrified that you would suddenly stop loving him. Looking at this flustered young woman in front of you, you knew you had hit the nail on the head. To be honest, guessing the other person's thoughts like this gave you zero sense of accomplishment, and instead made you feel a bit sad. Can I kiss you? Binding Bing stared at you in a daze, doubting if he had heard wrong. Binding Bing. I don't know what I need to do for you to believe that I love you. However, Binding Bing, that afternoon must have been the hottest day of autumn in Nanking City. The sun refused to go down for the longest time, as if returning to the height of midsummer. Most of the conversations between the two of them and chat contents could no longer be clearly remembered. Binding Bing was in a complete daze throughout the whole thing, and after finishing dinner, he didn't even know how he had returned home, even deep into the night. He could still faintly feel that the chill on his lips where you kissed him remained, while his heart burned with heat. Time can wipe away all memories. Binding Bing had always felt that if time were to take away all of his memories completely, then the very last thing wiped away by time would definitely be that sentence that you spoke to him on that afternoon, caught in the midst of mid-autumn, with his heart still lingering in midsummer. Gazing into each other's eyes, those were words you spoke with your own lips. I don't know what I need to do for you to believe that I love you, but Binding Bing, I love you. You can ask me to confirm it repeatedly, forever and always. Sunday afternoon. Just like usual, you rode your shared electric scooter and prepared to go on a date with Binding Bing. From far away, you spotted Binding Bing standing by the roadside. Didn't I tell you to wait until I arrived and sent a message before coming down? How come you're standing by the roadside waiting again? Binding Bing looked at you with a beaming smile, feeling somewhat shy. I missed you, roommate, classmate Binding Bing. Where did the young woman's typical reservedness go? How come I feel like you're getting clumsier and sillier? Binding Bing didn't mind either, just tilting his head and smiling at you. Give me your hand. Hearing the command, Binding Bing obediently placed his hand right into the palm of your hand, letting you hold it. What do you want to eat? Even though you knew asking was pointless, you still couldn't help but go through the motions anyway. I'll listen to whatever you want. As expected, it was the answer you foresaw. For the past few days, you've been taking Binding Bing and eating through every shop around the school, so you started a new round of specialty braised pork, rice. After taking your seats inside the restaurant, the two of you sat side by side, looking at Binding Bing eating with a face full of bliss. You couldn't help letting out a sigh. Clumsy girl. After Binding Bing murmured a quiet sentence, he transferred the fried egg and the scarce pieces of braised pork all over into your bowl. This is for you, I can't finish it. There was a potato pancake in his rice, so that was his final bit of stubborn pride. Yet I want to eat the potato pancake even more. As soon as you finished speaking, you watched this clumsy girl start agonizing over it again, looking all happy and amused. Binding Bing picked up the potato pancake and dropped it right into your bowl. Inside his own bowl, only plain white rice and some side dishes remained. Binding Bing tilted his head and smiled at you. Without showing any trace of reluctance, you transferred both potato pancakes over to him. You eat them? How am I supposed to eat plain white rice? I was just joking with you. There are side dishes. This tastes way better than plain water noodles. I'm already completely content. I am your boyfriend. At least listen to me on this, okay? Hearing those 3 words, boyfriend, unconsciously Binding Bing felt as if his heart was gently tickled by the tip of a feather, sending a tingling, itchy sensation through him. He felt inexplicably shy. I'll listen to your words, eating and chatting along the way. The atmosphere was harmonious. The 2 of them ate very slowly. After finishing and coming out of the shop, the sky had already turned dark. Night had descended softly, with starlight twinkling here and there. The street lamps along the road had also all lit up. Laughter echoed through the lively surroundings. Right beside every night market stall, people were chatting and laughing. It was extremely bustling and overflowing with youthful vitality. You bought 2 cups of coconut juice, especially adding extra coconut jellies, strolling leisurely after the meal. Switch hands, why don't you? Although Binding Bing didn't know what you were going to do, he still obediently listened to instructions. Switching his hand, you just like that took hold of his hand. So it was to hold hands after all. Binding Bing silently lowered his line of sight. Although it wasn't the first time holding hands, yet being forcefully demanded to hold hands like this still made his heartbeat accelerate, shoulders gently brushing against each other. Neither of them spoke, just walking quietly. Binding Bing really liked this kind of feeling. Even if no one was talking, the atmosphere would only be peaceful and leisurely, and not suffocating or constrained. If he were walking side by side with someone else, without anything to chat about, he would think it was his own fault, and couldn't help wondering if he had offended the other person somewhere. Right now, he didn't even have the courage to walk side by side with others. His gaze turned desolate. Suddenly, fear surged over him like a tidal wave, submerging him completely. Suffocating and powerless, his body started trembling uncontrollably. You noticed the abnormality beside you, slowed down your pace, and asked in a gentle voice, "What's wrong?" Nothing. He was extremely clear about what was wrong with him, not knowing when it had started. Perhaps when he went out to work, the boss frequently thought, and then perhaps when the boss's wife intentionally picked a fight and slapped him across the face. Whenever Binding Bing paid too much attention to other people, his feelings of fear would be amplified infinitely without end. When he was alone in the rental apartment, he could wrap himself up in the blankets and tremble, and endure it for a while until it passed. Yet when outside, in front of you, Binding Bing tried his absolute best to hide it, not wanting to be seen by you, even though he said it was nothing. You noticed that even his lips were trembling. Although he was terrified of people these past few days, he had still been doing fine. Now it suddenly flared up, with his emotions crashing down. For a moment, he didn't know what he should do. Is your body feeling unwell? I want to go back. Not knowing whether it was an illusion, you saw that the depths of his eyes were completely filled with shattered pleading. And only then did you realize Binding Bing was suffering a psychological episode, not daring to ask too much either. You went along with him. All right, I'll send you back. I can go back by myself. You wanted to step a bit closer, to give him a bit of a sense of security, yet the movement of him retreating half a step back made you abandon that naive thought. Then go back by yourself. You stood right there in place, appearing exceptionally lonely. Your heart was flooded with a complex mixture of emotions, filled with both worry and heartache. Yet you also knew, at this moment, he needed space to calm his emotions down. Returning home, you tossed and turned lying on the bed, with Binding Bing's trembling lips continuously flashing through your mind. And that shattered gaze? Did you get home safely? Get some good rest. I'm always here. A few minutes later, the phone screen lit up. It was a reply from Binding Bing. I'm here, sorry, for making you worry today. Looking at this message, your heart felt a bit more at ease. You replied, no need to apologize. This isn't your fault. See you tomorrow. The next morning. Sunlight spilled into the room through the gaps in the curtains. You woke up early and purposely went to buy the breakfast that Binding Bing loved to eat. Then rode your bike over toward his rental apartment. Standing at the doorway, you took a deep breath and gently knocked on the door. The door was quickly opened. Binding Bing stood behind the door, his complexion somewhat pale, yet his eyes were sparkling bright. Seeing the breakfast in your hands, he froze for a second and randomly revealed a shallow smile. Good morning. Eat it while it's hot. Thank you. Stepping inside the room, you noticed an open diary placed on the table. Binding Bing noticed your line of sight and somewhat flusteredly closed the diary and shoved it into the drawer. Writing in your diary, Binding Bing nodded, without speaking. Looking right at him, you said earnestly, Binding Bing, I know there are a lot of scars deep inside your heart, and also a lot of fears. I'm not demanding that you walk out of it immediately, nor am I demanding that you open your heart to me right away. But I want to tell you, no matter how long and drawn out this process might be, I will accompany you by your side. You can take your time. I'll wait for you. Binding Bing raised his head. With his eye sockets turning slightly red, he opened his mouth, as if wanting to say something, but in the end simply let out a soft You smiled, and reached out to ruffle his hair. Hurry up and eat your breakfast. It'll get cold in a bit. Binding Bing ate his breakfast in small dainty bites. You sat opposite him, quietly watching him. Sunlight spilled over his body, gilding him with a layer of golden light. At this moment, it was as if you could see deep into his inner soul. That fragile yet resilient soul was trying bit by bit to step out of the gloomy haze. You knew the road ahead was still very long, and Binding Bing's recovery process would also be full of challenges. Yet you believed, as long as there was love and patience, sooner or day he would completely shake off the shadows of the past and truly embrace the sunlight. The weather is really nice today. Let's go out for a walk. Binding Bing hesitated for a moment, then nodded gently. You walked along the small path in the park as a gentle breeze swept past, wafting over waves of floral fragrance. Binding Bing tightly grasped hold of your hand. Although still feeling somewhat nervous, he was no longer as terrified as he was yesterday. From time to time, you would tell him some interesting stories to coax him into smiling. Gradually, a sincere smile blossomed across Binding Bing's face. With his eyes growing brighter and brighter, looking at his smile, your heart was filled with hope. You knew Binding Bing was getting better bit by bit, and you were also willing to accompany him all the way, until he made a full recovery. At dusk time, the two of you sat on a park bench, watching the setting sun slowly sink down. Binding Bing leaned against your shoulder and said softly, "Thank you for always accompanying me." You turned your head and placed a gentle kiss on his forehead. "No need to thank me, because I love you." Binding Bing's cheeks flushed bright red. He raised his head, braving your gaze to meet it head on. With his eyes flashing with the radiance of bliss, the afterglow of the setting sun spilled over the two of them, drawing their figures out very long, as if foreshadowing the long and blissful path awaiting them in the future. You knew that although Binding Bing's heart still held scars, "Thank you for accompanying me all this time."